again, this, as you see, these Panjikans paintings, you can touch them, so they create kind of leaves. They can read braille by braille about this each topic on these paintings. At the same time, people can listen. So this is different people. And at the same time, first time in the history, these topics of this painting had been animated. And this is really very interesting because I should tell you, not all people know about the context. You can touch, you can
problem, some internet issue.
Yeah, and okay, at the end, I would like to say that also they created a felt carpet. The Hermitage Museum created a special felt carpet from the old replica of old carpet from this collection. And this beautiful also sworn, and this is, hello?
Yes, Dr. Singh,
yes,
we can hear you.
Yes, and what I should tell also that this exhibition, yes, this carpet had been also one of the version of this made by already Hermitage Museum carpet donated to our collection. And this exhibition in general became one of the best exhibitions in Europe in 2021. 3 exhibitions had been selected, and our exhibition also in this list. This is how you can see our exposition in this this is a replica of I don't know if you can see it. I'm sorry. Yes, here you can see the print of Pazari carpet. Of course, we can't show object itself, it's in the constant exposition, but here on textile it is print of this carpet, and that is 3 tactile carpets which made by our museum, and that is here you can see also the movie about our museum. So the all kind of information on touch you can read and learn about this carpet and its ornaments. So this exhibition, as I know, will continue in the general staff building in Hermitage till the April 3rd. and it will be a traveling exhibition. So if you will be maybe in St. Petersburg during this period, you are welcome to visit this exhibition, and we hope that also it would be on display in different European museums. Thank you very much for your time and for your patience. Really, it is today something wrong with our internet connection, but I hope that in general I could explain the curatorial idea of this very important for museum, for people who come to museum, for collections which are protected in museums exhibition. Thank you. If you have any questions, you are welcome.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Ma'am, could you stop the screen sharing?
Yes.
Thank you very much. If anyone has any questions for Dr. Shirin, please send the questions through the chat. So till we receive the question, I would like to request Ms. Eliana to be ready for the next presentation. Dr. Shirin, would you like to share anything?
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, ma'am. Seems like we don't have any questions for you. If we have any questions, then we would be sharing with you in the later hours.
Feel free to ask if yes.
Sure. All right, now without further delay, I would like to request Ms. Eliana Krutovic to start with her presentation. Well, she is a freelance curator from Croatia, and she is presenting on multisensory exhibition, tools for achieving equality in museum spaces. Ms. Eliana, would you like to share your presentation by yourself, or would you like me to help you with the sharing?
Hello, so unfortunately I cannot turn on the video. Maybe you could give me some credentials to turn on the video, or...
Let me check. Oh, sorry. All right, could you check?
Yes. Okay,
Right.
Thank you. So good morning from Croatia. In Croatia, it's now 9 a.m. So today I'm gonna present to you, as Mina said, about multisensory exhibitions. Just a moment to share the screen. Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, do slides move?
Yes.
Okay, good. So as she introduced, I'm currently independent curator in Croatia, but I was working as a curator in the Geological Museum in Zagreb. So the topic of my speech today is going to be about multisensory exhibition as a way of achieving equality in a museum space. So what does it mean to have a multisensory exhibition? It means to have an exhibition which includes all the human senses, not just what we see, but also it means what we experience when we touch something, when we hear something, or when it means like basic experience of the object. Just a second. Okay, so first, what would be equality what would be equality in general? It means like for a person to have the most of their lives and the talents. It's a definition from Equality and Human Rights Commission. If we consider equality in the context of content of the museum space, it means to have exhibitions which could be experiences with various types of the persons. not just like to have an exhibition served for one type of people who come to the museum to experience objects from their like viewpoint of the world, but also like to have the exhibitions which can make the people to rethink about the world. What would be the museum role in this kind of museum role in achieving equality? If we first say about the museums which are open to the public, the most in general definitions of museum, they say how museums should be open to everybody, for all the audience, for communication and interpretation of museum objects. And the goal of us as a curators is actually to communicate and interpret those objects for different kind of people, for a person with disabilities. And we can actually speak, if we speak about the people with disabilities, we don't speak just about them. We could also say that people who are getting older, they also need some kind of accessibility, but they don't have actually disability. So if we talk about accessibility, it means accessibility for everybody. It also means not just accessibility of museum objects, it also means accessibility of museum space and the content which is put like for easy understanding for everybody. If we talk about the museum, okay, so I will talk actually in this presentation mostly about two exhibitions, which actually I was curator. I was curator of this exhibition in 2019 and 2020. So this is example how some other senses can be used in the museum space. For example, on the right picture, we can see the girl which can actually smell the leaves of the, she can actually smell the leaves which were part of the exhibition as a museographic tool. Also, there is this land, part of the land, which was very special for this kind of exhibition. So we put it that people can actually experience it. On the left side, you can see also, but this is what we just use for opening of the museum exhibition with the salt. So to have the content and space adjusted for everybody, we also need to be careful about how do we make those stuff. Also, there are some rules how we can make this stuff for the blind people. This is another example which we used on the exhibition. We actually used the real shell, real shell from the sea, as a tool for the people that they can touch it. So we didn't actually, in the museum before, we were using pictures with braille and this relief drawings where people could experience the shape. And for this kind of exhibition, we actually decided to take the parts of the nature and bring it to the museum. Because, for example, the blind people and the museum where I was working, it's mostly actually about the blind people. They actually cannot just come to the mountain or to some like very far away land, and they cannot experience all the parts of this nature. So we decided actually to bring these parts of the nature to the museum. So this is this slide about multisensory exhibition, but you can actually see the difference. Here you can see what is happening if we use printed versions of interpretation. And this slide before, it's like using real life objects. So these two exhibitions at the Geological Museum, one was about little island at the Adriatic Sea, and the second one was about a little village from one part of Croatia. So in those exhibitions were held in Geological Museum. Actually, Geological Museum, Tiflos, it means blind. So it's basically a museum which is dealing with the issues of the blind people. And the museum is very old. It started in 1888. But the museum, it started as a collection of the objects which were related to the education and which were related in general with the blind people. But the museum was kind of open to the public in 1953. And nowadays, the museum is not just dealing with the issue of the blind people, but it's also dealing with the issue of all other disabilities, and it's dealing with the issue of equality, how to serve equality in a museum space. So I have decided to put these two exhibitions because I think they are a little different in the way how we approach exhibitions in general. Because museums objects, if we talk about objects in the museums, we usually talk about the objects which are actually not used for touch. We talk about very valuable objects, which are one kind of those objects, and usually people cannot experience and interact with them. So it means actually that they are losing one part of their interpretation. Because if we observe those objects in the museum spaces, we use actually what are they for people, what are they nowadays. So these two exhibitions about Little Island and Little Place in the Croatia, Little Village. So this is one part of the exhibition. This part is there are these places where we installed in exhibition. It's written like the touch with this little hand. It's written touch, and also we use these braille letters under the sculptures that interpret those objects for the blind people. The blind people, they also need to have their objects put from 19 centimeters to 140 centimeters. So when we were designing these exhibitions, we were thinking about the height, which is actually the height for the objects to be touched. So the main questions I will answer today, or I hope I will answer, is how we could present and adjust museum items for visitors with disabilities, and how different multisensory approaches impact visitor experiences. So this is also another part of the exhibition, as well, with the hand, which says the touch. And for example, the blind people, there was one blind girl, and I was leading her as a museum guide through this exhibition. And she was actually fascinated because she was allowed to touch everything, even these animals, because she told me, like, when I read about those animals, I cannot touch them. And when I come to the museum with which deals with this kind of object, natural museums, also I'm forbidden to touch this kind of animals. And she was very fascinated with all this stuff from the animals we actually made as a part of this exhibition. So the first exhibition is about this little island, and this exhibition actually presented more like costumes, behavior, and tradition. It's less about the nature, it's more about the person connection with the nature and what this nature means for people who live on this island. Here you can see example of this picture. You can see actually the smells. In this exhibition, we use many stuff which people needed to smell. So we use Dalmatian herbs, we use the salt, we use different types of smell in different parts of the exhibition. So there is this another part of the same exhibition about this island and the costumes of people. These people were actually using this big kitchen stuff for cooking. So we didn't just present this special type of a cooking pot. We actually put the herbs which they were using in general when they were cooking this kind of stuff. So we were regularly changing them. So inside, it's not just to see this pot. You can actually have the sense to see, but you could also the touch if you don't see, and you could smell these herbs from the inside. There is this part of the land, because on this island there is the special land which actually we put in one big box, and we bring those land in Zagreb. So this is another view of the exhibition. This is the part which was related to the sea. What is interesting, these photos, they are, it was exhibition inside the exhibition. It was the exhibition of one photographer inside the exhibition of the land. But these pictures also mean that people who are visually impaired, who cannot see, there are some people who see less. Not all the people who are visually impaired are blind. There are people who need enlarged photos to understand the details and the parts which are important. So in this those two artistic photos, they actually have the meaning for the people who are visually impaired as well as the other objects which were also used for a touch. On this picture, you can actually see the real sea. I don't know how English name for this. You can actually sea star, which the person who is blind can touch with the help of curator to experience the surface and the different textures related to this island. The second exhibition was exhibition related to this little village. There we decided to use nature, just like nature, like the wood, the art, and the parts of the forest. We actually bring the parts of the forest inside the museum. So this is the part of the wood which we were using actually for the blind people to touch the texture of different types of the wood. So they could experience how is the wood in this little, how is the wood from different types of the trees. So if we talk about, it's going to be the more pictures of the exhibition further. So if we talk about adjustment, we can talk about different textures. So I saw different textures with which person could touch at the exhibition. Also, we were using audio guides as a part of exhibition and relief drawings for some interpretation of some stuff related to cave, because we couldn't bring the people to the cave. And the floors were arranged for independent movement. So we were actually planning to have like in between those objects everywhere, like around 1.20 meters for a person with a wheelchair that they can approach. Also, we were having these little spaces where it was meant like, oh, research, and in the right corner you can see the herbs. We actually bring all the herbs which could be smelled from this little island for the people to smell. That was like corner where people could smell different stuff as well. So this is this exhibition about the island. And so now I return to the methods of adjustment and the second exhibition about this little village. If we talk about the methods of adjustment, it means also the color contrast. So we need to use the colors because of not all the people who are blind not all the people who don't see are actually blind. So some people who see less, they need more color contrast. They need also the availability of the exhibits. They need the bright description of the objects, which we were actually using. You could see on the pictures. We were also using larger fonts when we were describing these objects, and enlarged photographs. Enlarged photographs are also important, and you can see actually this above the sculpture, there is enlarged photograph of exactly the same sculpture, which could be rotated from both of the sides. For me, this is a really interesting part of the exhibition. We wanted for people to experience the forest. And to experience the forest, it means to experience the sound when you walk on the leaves. I like this when I go to the forest in the autumn. I especially like to walk on the forest to hear this little sound when you walk on it, and also to smell these leaves. So we actually bring a lot of these leaves in the museum, and you can see that whole exhibition had this tactile stripes, which were leading actually people to walk on them. And here there was this part where people could walk actually like in the forest. This is another part of the forest. I told you already that we bring different types of herbs, different parts of the wood, as well as also different parts of the animals. Here was also the part of animal parts from the forest, and the smell corner, another one. Also here you can see, since we bring the art objects, you saw some art objects, there was a workshop where people were using old tools to make those kind of sculptures. And in this part, on the left picture, you can see all the parts in the production. You can see these parts of the wood when you construct it, when you shape it, these leftovers of shaping the wood. So we also decided to put this part of the exhibition. So this is the space where you can see actually how those tactile stripes were inside the museum space. As well, you can see the position of this sculpture, which were which were like put in a way that person who are blind actually they can touch them. And also these tactile stripes, they lead to those they lead to those pedestals. So in my point of view, for me, actually to design this kind of exhibition was really interesting, because you need to be really creative to use everything from what you can have from the nature, and as well to use this kind of stuff for everybody. To learn new ways how you can present something which you daily interact with it, and also people who this exhibition was open to everybody, so everybody could come there and experience it. And it was really interesting for those people who actually see and who don't have any disability. It's actually changed the way how they see stuff in the museum. They were shocked because they could touch the objects. They were shocked because there were many different levels of interpretation to different senses, which you cannot actually see. But they were like, they were in some corner and like thinking, oh, there is some sound in that corner, and they didn't expect it. So, so to have different interpretations, it means for curators to use different museographic tools. And also the museums, I believe the future of museums is increasing the social inclusion of citizens, because museums are little hubs of these places, and they should serve for everybody and to present everything as inclusive in the museum. So this is everything from me. Thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, I'm open for discussion.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Iliana. Let me invite Dr. Serene for the keynote speaking. Dr. Serene, are you there? Dr. Serene has actually informed us before that she will be a little bit busy today. So let me invite Ms. Riva for the keynote speaking. Ms. Riva? Well, thank you very much, Iliana, for your presentation. I would like to ask our participants if you have any questions for Iliana.
Iliana, I just wanted to confirm one thing. Were they also audio video, presentations, because you spoke about having the show for disabled? So was there some sort of audio video, assistance which was provided with the exhibition, so that the blind could easily probably hear it, or some sound which was attached to the artworks that you could, because you were talking about nature, you were talking about space. So, these are all the six senses. You need to smell the space. You need to also hear the sound of the space. So I wasn't very clear whether there were any audio interpretations of the space in your particular exhibition.
Okay, thank you for the question. So yes, there was a different type of audio. because the blind people, when you describe the objects to the blind person, you need to have a special type of approach to those objects. They need to have, for example, this kind of audio is different. It starts like from the top of the sculpture, touch with the hands, and at the top of the sculpture starts this until there, and it was more like a description. It was description for the blind people on audio guides where there was the sculptures, but also there was a sound related to nature. People could hear the birds singing, they could hear the typical sounds of nature. So when I was in this village, I was recording everything and I put this behind the video screen. We had a video screen for the part of exhibition, and but these sounds, they could be heard in the whole museum. The birds and walking in the nature, the sound of you walking actually. From summer, from autumn, from winter. We recorded in different periods of time actually. So yes, we had the sound which was related to exhibition in general, and the sound as well related just as a tour guide for the blind people when they come near one object, something like this. Okay.
And was the curatorial text also in Braille, or was there anybody, you know, help, especially for the deaf, were there anybody to support with sign language? Was that also part of the show, or was it thought over?
Okay, so we had also the ethnography movies from this part of the place. And in these ethnography movies, we put subtitles on Croatian language. And in relation to Braille, just like even less than 50% of blind people can read actually Braille. So because people who actually lose sight, it happens to them, for example, when they are older, when they are 60 or 70. So it means that we need to have like also this sound interpretation, because some of them don't learn Braille in a time. I hope I answered on your questions.
No, thank you. I think you've answered them. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gayatri, for your question. There is one more question from Mr. Imran. So he's asking how we can attract people physically in the digital era.
Okay, this is really interesting question, actually. I think that actually museum needs to start to approach differently to their audiences and to their objects. It's like, okay, we preserve objects because they are part of the heritage and they are valuable, but if they are not used, it is questionable what is going to happen with their value, in my opinion, but this is just my... So I believe that in the future, there will be artificial technologies, and museums are going to start to more include the new technological, new technological stuff from the digital area. And okay, they use this stuff, for example, in gamification. They use kind of game techniques to approach people to their web pages, for example. This is what they do now. Also, they use this kind of gamification techniques to more relate to the object. But this distracts actually the person from the object. This is interesting for me. But I think when technology more involves, and when you will, and then you can print the part of the objects in your home, and when you can have like, I don't know, like when you could send the smell to somebody, like you have in 4D, 5D cinema. I think that in this way, like museum could evolve. But I'm not sure if because then they will lose actually this thing to have the physically personal check in the museum. So I'm not sure. I'm actually like started to talk about this digital area and possibilities of museum with technology, but actually I lost your point. Right. I don't know. I'm trying to make people come to the museum. Sometimes I'm more successful and sometimes I'm less. That's that's the truth.
Well, thank you very much, Eliana, for your answers. And thank you to all the participants for the question. Since our schedule is slightly tight, I would like to invite our next presenter. All right. So let me invite Visena Anakskin. So she is a curator at the National Textile Museum in Malaysia, and she is presenting on intangible heritage of Malaysia.
Thank you, Ms. Mina. So allow me to share my screen first.
Sure.
Right. Is it clear?
Yes.
Right. So thank you once again, Ms. Mina, all the museum directors, member of ICOM, fellow friends around the world. So good day, everyone. I'm Shana Skim, a curator of the National Textile Museums of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So I hope everyone is well through a time of pandemic. So first and foremost, my appreciation goes to the ICOM for giving me such opportunity to present today. So today I will share about the culture and traditions of Malaysia. So topics to be covered today is a festival and performing arts. So at the end of the presentations later, I also would like to share a video of National Textile Museum of Kuala Lumpur. Right, next. So let's start with the introductions video.
Search no more. It's here.
Is the video okay, everyone?
Endless cheer. Memories so dear. After years, still so clear. Journey into this and more. Come on over and explore a different world. You surely say nothing more one can ask for. Just treat your senses. Experiences, no pretenses. Every step is something new. Perfect to refresh you. Live your favorite memory. Malaysia stays in memory. Keep your favorite memory. Malaysia, land of memory. Malaysia, truly Asia.
So next, well, I hope the video gives you an idea about our culture and tradition in Malaysia. So as you can see, Malaysia has rich cultural life with the most multi-ethnic and multi-religious in the world. So the multiple races and religion creates its most own uniqueness when it comes to the festival or any occasions regarding the religions and etc. So Malaysia represents three major ethnicities in Asia. We have the Malay, the Chinese, and the Indian. So the Malay make up the largest ethnic groups, followed by the Chinese and the Indian. So instead of that, the Borneo people and indigenous people in the peninsula also were parts of the populations. Yeah. So from the map shown, as you can see, Malaysia consists of 13 states and 3 federal territories. So Peninsula Malaysia consists of 11 states and 2 federal. So the 11 states are Perlis, Kedah, Penang, Perak, Selangor, Negeri Sembilan, Malacca, Johor, Kelantan, Terengganu, and Pahang. So the 2 federal are Kuala Lumpur, the capital of Malaysia state, where I'm currently working in, and Putrajaya, the federal administrative capital. So East Malaysia consists of 2 states, the capital of Malaysia, Sabah and Sarawak. So just want to share, I'm from Sarawak. So how do we connect the East and the Peninsula? Only using a flight across the South China Sea, approx around 2 hours. Yeah. So orang asli are the native in Peninsular Malaysia and is generally divided into 3 major groups, namely the Negritos, Sinoy, and Proto-Malay. While Sabah populations consists of 32 ethnic groups and the major ethnic is Kadazan Dusun, while Sarawak populations consists of 27 ethnic group and Iban is the major ethnic group. So what language is spoken in Malaysia? So the national language of the country is Malay, also known as Bahasa Melayu or Bahasa Malaysia. So after Bahasa, the English is the second most widely used language in Malaysia. So it is the main medium of education, communications, and government houses widely in Malaysia. So the exams are conducted here all in British English. So other than that, the Chinese Mandarin, the Tamil, and the indigenous are also being spoken by the groups. So next, all right, so this is the face of Malaysia, what we have in Peninsular Malaysia. So photo shows are the ethnic group with traditional custom measuring in Peninsular Malaysia. So the Malay are actually found in all 13 states of Malaysia. So same goes to the Chinese and the Indian, while the Orang Asli can be found only in Peninsular Malaysia. So the Orang Asli is the indigenous group. So allow me to share about the specials of Orang Asli. So there are 3 main groups of Orang Asli consisting of 18 tribes, the Negrito groups, the Photo Malay, and the other one is the Semai. So each tribe has its own language and culture and perceives itself as a difference from the others. So 80 tribes of the Orang Asli, there's quite a number actually. So the Orang Asli still practice the semi-nomadic lifestyle and traditions. However, some of them practice permanent agriculture and manage their own rubber, oil palm, or cocoa farms, planting rice as well as hunting and gathering. So moreover, they also trade in the farm produce such durian fruits and return to earn cash income. So small group of Orang Asli nowadays have salaries job in the government, private, or the self-employed. In Malaysia, we have the government's Department of Orang Asli Development that will continue to look into the needs and requirements of the Orang Asli community, including empowering their educations. Yeah. So next, the faces of Malaysia, Sarawak, Borneo, the place, the state where I came from. So next, same goes to the Peninsular Malaysia. In East Malaysia or Borneo, Sarawak, we also have Malaysia, Malays, the Malaysia Chinese, and the Malaysia Indians, and of course the native, what we call as what we categorize as a Dayak or Orang Ulu. So they include the Iban, Bidayo, Kenya, and many others. So the Iban, the second picture, is the largest ethnic group in Sarawak, so making about 30% of the populations, while the Bidayo roughly around 8% of the state populations. Yeah? So I can say that these two ethnic major in Sarawak. So the non-indigenous ethnic Malaysian Chinese and Malaysian Indian, as I mentioned earlier, so most of descendants of the Chinese immigrants during the 19th or the 20th century, the Chinese is about 25% of Sarawak populations and are made up of a mix of dialect group, including Hokkien, Hakka, Fuchao, Teochew, and Hainanese. So the Malaysian Indians are among the smallest ethnic group in Sarawak with, I think, less than 1% because it is very hard to see them mingles around the city. So most of descendants of Indian immigrants who came to the country during the British colonial rules. Yeah, so I am a mixed blood of Iban and Bidayo. So the second picture is me wearing our ethnic traditional costume. So we do not wear our traditional costume daily, but only worn on special occasions, such as marriage ceremonies and cultural events. So most of the Sarawakian today live, work, and stay in Sarawak and Peninsular Malaysia. So where the most job offered, yeah. So however, the others mostly still staying in the village, still doing the village work such as planting rice, fishing, weaving rattan, doing agriculture, and etc. So, and of course, whoever would like to experience the Sarawak ethnic lifestyle, please visit the Sarawak Cultural Village located in the main city of Kuching in Sarawak that showcase the state's remarkable cultural diversity. So there are authentic replica buildings representing the major Dayak groupings. There you will find a craft lessons, a theater, a music workshop, and that use traditional instrument. So other than that, you can also find an excellent introductions of Sarawak tribes at the Sarawak Museum in Kuching that was founded by Charles Brooke II, a White Raja. Right. So next, the face of Malaysia. This is at the East Borneo of Sabah. So the Sabah state, so together with Sarawak, Sabah is one of the states that form Malaysia Borneo. So Sabah, also known as the land below the wind, because of its locations just south of the typhoon-prone regions around the Philippines. Despite of more than 30 different ethnic races and over 80 local dialects spoken, however, they have a similar of sharing an oral history, language, and traditions. So the largest indigenous ethnic group is Kadazan Dusun, this one, followed by Bajau and the Murut. Yeah. So Iranum is one of the ethnic here, what we have in Sabah, Borneo. So too many of the peoples are converted to the Christianity or Islam. However, some of them share a common animistic belief system with various custom and practice. So their Eastern belief on the verified that everything has life, such the rock, trees, rivers, all are living things. And then just like a Sarawak ethnic, the Sabahan, namely the Kadazan Dusun, also celebrated the harvest festival annually on the 30th and 31st May to honor the rice spirit and to give thanks for a bountiful harvest. So the picture shows the local Sabahan with their diversity and unique costume. Right? And next, the religions and the festival. The commonly practiced religion in Malaysia are Christianity, Hinduism, and other belief systems. So Islam is the predominant religion in Malaysia. So Malaysia, the multi-races country, celebrate auspicious festival throughout the years, namely Eid, Hari Raya Haji, or we call as Eid Hajj, the Chinese New Year, the Deepavali, the Christmas, Gawai, and Pesta Keamatan. So Good Friday and Mooncake Festival also being hosted. So the traditions of organizing an open house create the opportunity for the various races and ethnic to visit each other to enliven and merrily the celebrations. So next, okay. So the Gawai Daya, this is celebrated by the Iban people in Sarawak. So we play the video first. Is the video clear?
Yes. All right, so tracing its root back to as early as 1957, the Gawai Dayak Festival was formally gazetted on the 25th September 1964 as a public holiday of Sarawak. So Gawai Dayak is the official harvest festival in Sarawak that held on every June 1st. After Excuse me, Sena,
Yeah?
could you reduce the volume of your video
Yeah,
a
sure.
little bit? Yes.
All right, I think,
If you could reduce the volume, then we can hear you speaking.
yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
It's okay, no worries.
Okay.
Yes, please continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all right, let's continue. So okay, where do I stop? So okay, so Gawai means festival and Daya is a collective name for the indigenous people of Sarawak and Kalimantan, Indonesia. So I guess some of you may wondering why is it Iban Kalimantan Indonesia has to do with Iban Sarawak. So based on the researchers, Iban Sarawak I believe to have migrates from the headquarters of the Kapuas River Kalimantan in central highlands of Borneo and down into the coastal plain of present day Sarawak in several distinct waves, the first of which took place 16 generations approx 400 years ago. Yeah. So in the olden day, during the Gawai festival, the Ibans and the Bidayo will perform a mirroring ritual. So the offering ceremony with ritual music being performed beforehand. So the feast chief will thank the god for the good harvest, ask for guidance, blessings, and long life as he sacrificed a cockerel. So dinner then will be served while everyone talks and mingles waiting for midnight. However, most of the Dayak families nowadays do not uphold the traditional practice of mirroring because of the religious practices. So most of the Dayak people that has converted to Christianity, so local church will celebrate the occasions with special masses in which elements of the tribal prayers are inserted, song and dances. So many parishioners wear traditional clothes, and at the end of the ritual, local dishes are served as thanks for the good harvest. Yeah? So the celebrations now get merrier with dancing and traditional music being played. So others will recite poetry. So others activity that may follow the next day include the cockfighting, blowpipe demonstrations, and dancing. And also we organize a beauty pageants competitions. So on this day, the homes of Daya will be open to the visitors, and this festival may last up for the several days, with visitors being welcomed to the home of Daya throughout the festival. And then it is also time of years that many Dayak weddings take place, as it is rare for all members of the community assemble at the Holong house at one time. So this is my own culture, Iban Sarawak. So next, it might be very interesting actually, the Wangkang festival by the Chinese community in Malaysia. Yeah. So very grand and costly religious processions. Wangkang, Wang or King or deity Ong Ya. Kang is the rare and usual festival has existed in Malacca since 1854 by the Hokkien's migrants from Fujian's province of China. So Fujian's province, 5 deities were with the surnames of Chu, Hu, Ti, and Pek were worshipped. So where the Hokkiens brought the deities to Malacca, the local came to regard them as the patron saints. So originally run by the Peranakan or Baba and Nyonya community, the Wangkang ceremony and related practices are rooted in the folk customs of worshipping Ong Ya, a deity believed to protect people and their lands from disaster. So the ceremony is to invite the wandering souls or bad soul or other negative spirit to get on the barge, the ship, the Wangkang, which loaded with bags of rice, wine, water, herbs, pot, pen, stove, and joss pepper, the spirit money, as an offering for the evil spirits on board, as they believe that there should be balance among heaven, earth, and sea. So sometimes the royal barge was 5.8 meters long, 2.5 meters wide, and 2.0 meters height with a 6.2 meters height mast. So in Malaysia, it was made of marble timber and 5-layered plywood, and it's to 5 committee members, 3 months to build. Yeah. So what time is the this festival started? Actually started from morning, but the climax came into the evenings. Yeah.
आफ्नै कुरा त बाबुले यो प्रब्लम बुवा यसो बुवा भनेर बुवासँग भन्न सक्दैन तपाईले कि बुवालाई भन भनेर भन्नुभयो उले भन्थ्यो
Am I going too fast or okay? Yes, shall I continue? So, okay. All right, so the climax come in the evening. So after the priest say, hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes. Yes, yes.
Shall I continue or
Yes,
I'm going
yes.
fast?
Miss Sena, please continue.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, so okay, where do I stop? So I shall continue with the Wangkang. Yeah. So the climax came in the evening. Yeah, the processions of the Wangkang. So after the priest say final prayers, the Wangkang is finally set aflame. So I'm going to show this for the next video. So the Chinese community believe that the burning Wangkang destroying demons. So the crowd are given small bag of tea for them to throw into the water. So next, they must walk away and prohibited to turn back because it is said by doing so will bring more misfortune for the spirits who are determined to do evil to those tempted to break the traditional rules. Yeah. So this is the video of Wangkang Festival. The Wangkang is finally set aflame, burning Wangkang. Okay, so the Wangkang ceremony only organized when Yong Chuan Tian Temple from Malacca get a command from the Ongya deities. So meaning the festival does not happen annually. So it is only celebrated when Ongya receive instructions from the heaven. So in Malacca, as far as could be determined, the Wangkang processions was first held in 1854 at Kandang and up to 1880. It took place every 5 to 8 years. So in 1891, when the outbreaks of deadly cholera, it was again held. And since then, it has been taking place every 14 years until 1933. So based on the virtually Peranakan Fest, the Wangkang Festival that was held on the November 20 of 2020, it is said that the next Wangkang Festival will be held on 15 November 2031 in Malaysia, the new moon day of the 10 lunar year. On the 10 lunar months, right? So the Wangkang was recognized as a national heritage in 2017 and currently awaiting for UNESCO recognitions. Journey with the Republic of China to have the ceremony processions declared as the intangible heritage of the world. Yeah, so next, the traditional performing art. Okay, so Malaysian dances can be identified with a certain regions or religious practice which are performed in festival celebrations, wedding, culture shows, religious ceremony, and other public events. Yeah? So with colorful costume by multi-racial ethnic, the performing art of Malaysia are splendid, and every movement, dance, and costume portrays definitely have a story to tell. So here are some lists of the traditional performing arts in Malaysia. So we have a Mayung Theatre, Dondang Sayang, Silat, a Malay martial arts, a Sumazau dance, a DK Barat, Chinese Lion dance, Magunatip Sabah, the bamboo dance, Datun Julut, Sarawak dance, and many more. So the picture at my right side, there was me wearing a Mayung costume. If I'm not mistaken, that was back then in the 2013. Yep. So next, the Mayong. I think the music is too loud. So, okay.
Miss Sena, you only have 5 more minutes now.
5 more minutes, yeah.
Yeah, for your presentation.
Okay. Same. Is it? Oh, is the video still out or?
Yeah. Oh no, it is okay. Better than
It's okay.
before. All right.
So I show. So I think this one might be okay. All right. Present. Okay. All right. So can you hear my voice?
Yes, this is good. Please
I have
continue.
only 5 minutes here. So in the 2005, Mak was recognized by UNESCO. I think still very loud. Okay, sorry.
No worries.
Okay, this one better. Okay, so in 2005, Mak was recognized by UNESCO as one of the masterpieces of oral and intangible heritage of humanity. So originated from Kelantan in the northwest Malaysia, Mak are mainly performed as entertainment or for ritual-related for healing practices. So historians believe that Mak has came into existence at the court of the Malay ruler of Patani and spread to Kelantan, Malaysia before the Islamizations of the country. So it was performed as a royal theatre under the direct patronage of the Kelantan Sultanate until the 1920s. So Mak Yong's musical instruments were robot, the three-stringer fiddle, drums and gong, and most roles are led by the female character, the Mak Yong itself and the princess, followed by the Peran Tua or Peran Muda, the old and the young servant characters, played by male's character. So story told are based on the folklore where the epics are told and taught in the oral, not in the written form. So shall I skip the video?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
It's
All right,
beautiful.
next. Yes, thank you. So this one is the Sumazau dance Borneo from Sabah. Sorry, Sabah, Malaysia. It's not from Sabah, Sarawak. It's a Sumazau dance from Borneo, Sabah. Okay, this one I think is too loud also. Sorry. Okay. Okay, right. So this one is better. So Sumazau is the iconic dance of Sabah. It's a traditional dance originated from the Kadazan and Dusun or Kadazan Dusun people, the largest indigenous group of Sabah, which is often performed at Tado Kamatan, which means the harvest day celebrated in Sabah every May. So the dancer imitate the eagle in flight by stretching their arms to both sides and swing them up down like a bird wings. Usually Sumazau is danced in a group of male and female partner as a pair. So traditionally, according to the traditional belief, the Sumazau was sacred dance that was performed as a part of religious ceremonies such as monogit related to the rice spirit called Bambazon, and those associated with the rice farming, weddings, and rituals symbolically to cleanse and cure illness. The Sumazau dance was accompanied by 6 hanging gong and a drums. It is said to connect human and the spirit world, the drums itself. So both worlds have to obey the rules in order to maintain the peaceful balance. So any wrongdoing will cause the imbalance that lead troubles such as illness, infertility of livestock, and unproductive farmlands. So Bobo Hizan, high priest of the Kadazan, would be called to restore the balance between the world by performing rituals with long poetic chants and Sumazau that connect the world. So nowadays Sumazau dance. So nowadays Sumazau dance mainly performs to welcome guests during harvest festival, weddings, celebrations, social or tourism events, or any occasions either formal or informal with no prohibitions. Miss Mina, how much do time that I?
Actually, the time is finished, but then we can go through your slides, rather than going very in depth.
Yeah, is it okay if I'm sharing the National Textile Museums?
Yes, yes, sure.
Thank you. Right. The National Textile Museum was opened to public on the 9th January 2010, and it is a specialized museum whose role to collect, research, document, this is the museum that I'm educate and working display the in national Kuala textile Lumpur. and accessories collections. The architect S.C. Norman, who designed so many of the city's most famous landmarks in Kuala Lumpur, designed these Mughal-style buildings and was completed in 1905 as a headquarters for the Federal Malay States Railways. The architect S.C. Norman, who designed so many of the city's most famous landmarks in Kuala Lumpur, designed this Mughal-style building and was completed in 1905 as a headquarters for the Federal Malay States Railways. And over the following decades, it served as a premises and house for the government and the privates before being refurbished as a museum. In the year of 1983, this building was gazetted as a historical building, and the National Textile Museum of Malaysia are under Department of Museum Malaysia administrations. The museum is divided into 4 galleries arranged over 2 floors. The Pohon Budi Gallery is also known as Pohon Hayat, Tree of Life or Pohon Beringin. It is here that the Theatre of Life begins. Pohon Budi, a large tree that offers shelters, becomes a symbol of history, the cycle of life and civilizations.
The video is still running.
Just like a tree that germinates from a seed, growing bigger and bearing fruits in the form of useful shapes and colors.
Miss Mina,
The
does the video
gallery
there is
showcases
glitches,
the
but it's still
of
running.
textiles from the prehistoric times as well as its growth through threads. Also exhibited are the tool, materials and traditional technique of textile making through the processes of weaving, embroidery, batik making, gold embroiderings, knittings, beading, work with particular focus on the country's predominant textiles. Pelangi Gallery or a rainbow is the concave
gallery
of
we
various
have in
strips
Museum
of
Textile.
colors that appears in the sky. In the groupings of traditional textiles, kain pelangi is known as the royal yarns of multi-colored cloth. Its soft colors include greens, pink, yellow and blue. Pelangi Gallery symbolizes the colorful rainbow strips which can be related to the Malaysia different ethnic groups who are rich with their respective textile treasures. This gallery exhibits some of the selected heritage collections, such as the different types of batik and the growth over the years, the collections of the Chinese community and those of the Baba and Nyonya, which are rich with their use of silk and gold threads and beading, as well as the profusely fine, varied motif of Sarawakian and Sabahan textile collection. Ratna is an assortment of a
The third
diamond,
gallery.
gold and other jewels. Sari is the essence of core of an important part and is usually called the Saripati. Ratna Sari is a term which refers to a selected collections of jewel bonds from the creativity of artisans or yesteryears. The expertise of the Malays, Chinese and the Indians artisan, as well as the creativity of the Orang Asli and the indigenous groups of Sabah and Sarawak have produced adornments that are worn and inherited through the years by all races in this country. The Ratnasari Gallery exhibits jewellery, items, and personal adornments of the various ethnic groups in Malaysia made of gold, silver, copper, beads and plant, which are designed to be worn on the various parts of the body from head to toe. Telok Brantai Gallery or the interlocking base
gallery.
is a predominant motif in the making of Malay songket. From scatterings of individual flowers, they become of harmonious design patterns when stitched together like boxes, thus linking the individual motif to one another. The Telok Brantai is a symbol of intimacy and unison of the Malays, is producing an everlasting artistic heritage to this day. The Telok Brantai Gallery exhibits the richness, the fineness and the beauty of the Malay heritage collection, such as tekatan, gold embroidery made by stitching gold thread to create a raised relief of velvet, a kelingkan, an embroidery applique, a kain tenun, a woven fabric, a kain lima, an apron-like piece made of silk and worn over the kain songket. Kain lima songket tenggarong, lima cloth with heavenly gold threads. Kain telepo, a fine cotton or silk fabric imprint usually with Florence motif using gold leaf or gold dust. Kain berayat scripted cloth and various other costumes.
All right, that's all from me. Thank you. So if you have any questions, so I open for you.
Thank you very much, Shena, for your presentation. I would like to inform all the participants that because of the time constraint, we will be taking questions at the end of the session. So if you have any questions, please feel free to write the questions in our chat box and I'll help you share the questions. All right, so let me invite our next presenter, Miss Eleonora Veteroni Orgias from Italy. So she is an artist and a restorer from Italy. And she is going to present on the study on green earth in monochrome mural paintings in the Tuscany of 15th century. So let me invite Miss Eleonora.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry because I'm outside, I'm working, and I hope that you hear me. Okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Would you like to share your own presentation?
Yeah, okay.
Sure. Please.
Okay. Okay, great. So you see my desktop?
Yes.
Or not?
Yes,
okay.
We can see your presentation.
Okay. Okay, what is it? Okay. Okay. Well, I don't know why. No, I don't understand. Okay, great. I just want to. Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
No, because I just want to show my presentation in a different way, but I don't know why. Okay, no.
It's in PDF format, I think. Right?
I don't know why. Yeah, but actually, I just want to. Okay, great. Okay. Vista. Okay. Okay, great. Well, okay, today I just want to talk to you about my the study of my degree, the study that I did when I was in my master degree. And in this case, I made a study on the green earth pigment in monochrome mural paintings in the Tuscany of 15th century, because I studied science and technology for art. For restoration. And in this case, I made this study in my university in collaboration with an institute for restoration where I've studied later. It is the most famous institute for restoration in Italy. And this study on green earth pigment, oh, wow. Okay, yeah, in this study, I just started with the first step. So the study of the monochrome, because the monochrome is an artistic phenomenon, very, very special because, well, it is an artistic phenomenon that we find in the Italy of the medieval and the Renaissance times. So the first step was a research, historical research about the monochrome. Well, the term monochrome literally means one color painting. It derives from the Greek monos, only, and chroma, so color. Well, actually, when we find the monochrome in the history of art, we find them paintings with one color, one solo color, or with a few colors, 2, 3, or 4 maximum. So I made a research about the birth of the monochrome phenomenon in the classical area, with the development of this phenomenon in the following centuries. And I studied finally the monochrome in green earth, that is the final step of this phenomenon. Well, actually, the monochrome, it is very limited in time and in space also, because well, in space, because we can find this this phenomenon in the central northern Italy, especially, but especially in the Renaissance Tuscany. And it ends in the century 16. Well, Renaissance Tuscany is a region of Italy, and it is the region where it is Florence, where I am. So we have this this monochrome in the northeast of Italy and in the Tuscany, so in the center of Italy, in the at the end of medieval times, and in Renaissance especially. So, okay, I want to show you main artworks in the history of monochrome. This is maybe one example, one of the first example of a painting in monochrome. Especially this is by Giotto. Giotto is a very, very famous painter in Italy in the medieval times. We are in the 1305, so we are at the beginning of medieval. And this is okay, these are some of the 4 cardinal virtues and their respective vices in the Arena Chapel in Padua. So we are in the northeast of Italy. And this is a monochrome. Well, okay, the picture is in black and white, but actually this monochrome is with just 2 pigments, so white, black, and nuance of gray, of course. But after that, this is maybe the first famous example of a monochrome in green earth. We are in this case in Tuscany, so in the center of Italy, in Siena, that is a little city nearby Florence. And we are in at the end of medieval times, so 1345 almost. And this is a detail of the stories from the life of St. Augustine. Actually, okay, you can see that in this case we have man painted in a green earth. Actually, the green earth pigment is it has not a brilliant green, a brilliant color, brilliant green, because it is a green that has nuance in gray and in brown, because it is a natural pigment. It is mineral pigment. So this kind of gray of green is typical of green earth. Well, this is the most famous example of monochrome in green earth in Italy, and it is made by a very famous painter of the Renaissance in Italian, that is Paolo Uccello. We are in the middle time of Renaissance, so in the mid-century of 15th century. We are in Florence. And this is a detail of the stories of the Genesis, and the cloister is the Green Cloister. Well, this technique, this monochrome in green earth, is a technique very that we can find especially in a monastic place. Maybe because well, the green earth with its color gives us the sense of the poverty, the humility So maybe the artistic sense of this phenomenon of the monochromic green earth, especially in monastic places, maybe is this to transmit the sense of the spirituality. Well, this is one of the last examples of monochromic green earth. We are in a region under the Tuscany, but actually in the center of Italy, and we are at the end of Renaissance. We are in 1518, and this is a detail of the circumcision of Christ. Actually in another green cloister, and you can see that in this case the technique has a higher quality. Well, the second step of my study, it was the research about green earth, about the pigment of green earth, because pigment of green earth is a naturally earthy pigment, resistant to environmental degradation factors and suitable for any technique. It is not toxic because it is natural, devoid of chemical reactivity, and it enjoys high compatibility with other materials. Well, about the uses in the artistic history, this is a pigment that is very suitable for painting the background at the base of the skin tones, because especially in medieval times and the Renaissance, we can find the green earth like a base for the faces, base for the skin of the faces, or actually when we have a naked body. Actually, we can find the green earth in paintings for the foliage of the foregrounds, and also as a base for gilding, because actually we use the red pigment like a base for gilding, but you can also find the green earth. Well, about the geological profile, green earth has a variable composition by genesis and origin, because it is composed mainly by hydrated silicates of iron, magnesium, and alkali, and celadonite and glauconite, with others in smaller quantities. Actually, it is literally a mix of minerals, but actually it has two principal minerals. They are called celadonite or celadonite, and glauconite or glauconite. They give the color green to the pigment, to the green earth. Celadonite is a clay mica rich in magnesium, and the glauconite is a clay mica rich in iron. So actually this different composition gives them a different color, because actually the celadonite has a bright green color, like a dark green, yellowish green, with a redder colored shade, and it is generally found in volcanic formation. Glauconite has a variable color from yellowish to olive, less pure but more widespread, and it is found in sedimentary rocks of marine origin. Actually, a green earth that contains more celadonite, it has a higher quality, okay? Well, after that, the third step, it was a study, research about the diffusion and the trade of the pigment. Actually, we can find glauconite in Russia, the Baltic states, Bohemia, South, I think South Africa. No, south of England, okay, California, the Gulf of Guinea, and South Africa. It arises as a result of diagenetic alteration of marine sedimentary deposits. While the celadonite, we can find it in Cyprus at Monte Baldo. Okay, Monte Baldo is a mountain that we can find in the northeast of Italy, and it is the place where we can find the pigment, the green earth, with the most high quality in Italy. Actually, the quality of green earth of the Monte Baldo, of this mountain in Italy, it's so high that it is very famous also out of Italy. So we can find celadonite also in Tyrol, Mendip Hills in England, in France, and in Brazil. The presence of seawater during extrusion by volcanic formation can cause porosity in the rocks, providing the environment for the formation of selenite. Well, I don't want to explain to you the geological processes. It's not the purpose today, but okay, you have to know that these two kind of minerals has two different provenience. Well, so I told you before that the green earth of Montebaldo in Verona. Verona is a city in the northeast of Italy. So between two regions of Italy, Veneto and Trentino, is famous and highly prized. It is composed by seldonite, and it has highly priced because it has very high quality, of course. Well, the main question of my study, of my degree, it was, okay, the most famous green earth we can find in the northeast of Italy, but why the monochrome in green earth is an artistic phenomenon that we can find especially in the center of Italy. So we have also green earth in the center of Italy. We can find green earth in the center of Italy, the pigment. So I had to found the proofs of this. So I made historical research. So I read the book of art, or treatise on painting by Cellino Cennini. Is a very, very famous book of art of the medieval times. And in this case, this painter that he was from Tuscany. And in this case, this painter told us that while he walked with his father in mountains in Tuscany, he saw the green earth in the land, in mountains. So in this case, he was in Tuscany, in a little city of Tuscany that is called Siena. So I was very happy, because for me, this is a proof that we have green earth in a mountain in Tuscany. So I started a new research. I started a research in museums in Tuscany to find the green earth, the Tuscany green earth. So I found in this museum in Siena, in Tuscany, a collection of pigments. This collection was made in 1867 by the director of the museum, and they gave me a sample of pigment that is called green earth. Well, the last part of my study is actually the case of study, because I had to study wall paintings, mural painting that it was in Florence, and this painting is date back to the 6th, 7th decade of 15th century. So we are in a medieval times, and it is painted with green earth in green. Especially in the monochrome green earth, because actually other figures are not in monochrome, but especially in monochrome. Well, this painting had had a lot of alteration, like in the 16th century, or in the 17th century, or in 1799. Okay, with modification of the scene, or maybe also for the for other events. So it has a lot of alteration, but actually the technique of this painting is fresco and dry. Preparation drawing is a yellow ochre diluted in water and repainted in vine black. And above the drawing, we have homogeneous monochromatic painting in green earth and chiaroscuro effects with the black and white diluted in water. Okay, so I told you before that the monochrome can have one solo pigment, or maybe 2 or 3 or 4 pigments maximum. Well, the last part of my study is scientific analysis, because this is a study in a scientific faculty of science and technology for restoration. So the purpose of my scientific analysis was to identify the origin of the pigment. So because I want to discover if it exists, Tuscany green earth. So I made analysis, and I don't want to explain that because it's not the purpose of this conversation. So, but actually I made analysis, scientific analysis with an optical microscope, analysis in XRD, so in X-ray or in infrared ray. So I made 5 kinds of analysis. Well, the first analysis that I made, are the analysis that I made on the sample of green earth that I found in the museum in Siena. But unfortunately, this kind of analysis told me that the results of this analysis told me that in the samples of museum, there is the presence of jarosite. Jarosite is another mineral. So they confirmed that the sample is not green earth, is another pigment green, but not green earth. So it is certainly not green earth. Actually, okay, I was not very happy, but actually is important, because when you make scientific analysis, a result is important. It could be a positive result or negative result, but actually is a result. So it is very important because you have a result. So also in this case, we have a result. So this sample is not green earth. So, okay, we have to go on. And the next purpose was to analyze the green earth in the painting to discover if it is glauconite or celadonite. So to maybe do maybe to guess the provenance of the green earth, but actually the very first purpose was just to analyze the green earth in the pigment in the painting. In this case, you can see the scheme of the withdrawals made, and the spots highlighted with the blue box are the points from which the 5 samples were taken. So we took 5 samples from this painting. And okay, well, I just I don't want to show you everything, but actually this is the first sample that I took from the painting. And well, I don't know if you see very well, but actually you can think about a flake of a painting, and you have to imagine to cut this flake in a vertical way. So if you cut this flake in a vertical way, you can see the layers of a painting. So the white layer is the wall, and the first layer, green first layer, is the last layer of the painting. And in this case, from the analysis, we can say that, yeah, it contains green earth. So we have a layer painted with green earth. So in this case, the second sample that I took from the painting, actually also it contains a layer painted with green earth. Well, in this case, actually we have a layer green, but not contains green earth, but malachite. So another pigment, another green pigment. Okay, in this case, with this sample, we have green earth, but not in a very high quality, very high quantity. Well, and also in the last sample, we have green a layer in green earth. Well, actually, we made another scientific analysis to confirm the result. And actually, we have certainly green earth in the pigment in the painting. I'm sorry. Well, conclusions. What are my conclusions? Okay. In the samples of the painting, the stories of Santa Verdiana, the painting that I've studied, the analysis indicate the presence of green earth, especially the seletonite. So we can guess that this green earth is from northeast of Italy, is from Monte Baldo, but we actually don't know. But we know only that we have seletonite. All the analysis made on the samples from the collection of the museum in Siena contain jarosite, so another mineral, and not green earth. And at the last, given the lack of a Tuscany standard of green earth, it was not possible to set up provenance surveys. For a possible presence of green earth in Tuscany, the presence of real deposits could be excluded, because if the sources mentions Tuscany green earth, it could be about veins associated with the hydrothermal environments very common in Tuscany and that are not easy to find. And in the Tuscan mineralogical bibliography, because I made a research, a geological research, there is no seletonite or glauconite among the geological formations. So that are the results of my research. I just am very happy like this. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Eleonora, for your beautiful presentation.
Thank you.
I would like to request all the attendees, if you have any questions, please send them to the chat box. I would also like to inform Ms. Gouler to be ready for the presentation.
Yeah, if Rima is there, so we can ask her to give us the comments on last two presentations.
All right. Javed, Miss Rima, she told me that it will be nice if we could have that wrap up at the end rather than after each presentation.
Okay.
All right. So Eleonora, we have one question from Shivani. So yes. So the question is, can you please tell me the chemical composition of green earth and what pigmentation process you have used?
Well, the green earth is okay, I can tell you because the green earth actually is a mineral, and the composition is it's this. Okay. So okay, it is composed by hydrated silicates of iron, magnesium, and alkali, with the seletonite and glauconite that are two mica, rich in magnesium and in iron, with other minerals in smaller quantities. But actually, I don't use. I didn't use a pigmentation process. I just made a scientific analysis with X-ray and infrared ray to understand the real composition of the pigment. But actually, yeah, there is a silicate, mainly the green earth.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope Eleonora actually answered the question. All right.
Yes,
okay.
thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eleonora, as well as Shivani, for your question. Now, I would like to invite Ms. Gouler for her presentation. So Ms. Gouler Kuleva, she is working as an international relations specialist in Azerbaijan, and she's going to present the historical architecture of İçeri Şehir, and I will be helping her to share her presentation. Ms. Gouler, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready, and thank you very much for your help. Just for sharing my presentation on the screen. May I see?
All right.
Yeah, great. Okay.
Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Shall we start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shall we? From the next page. Yeah, it's okay. Hello, my name is Gula. I'm greeting you all from Baku, Shahar. Today I will talk here about the World City of Baku, which was inscribed in the World Heritage List of UNESCO in 2000 December. Shahar is a unique museum under the open sky, as well as it's a real city with its own infrastructure and old houses inhabited by more than 1,300 families. It is situated in the historic center of ancient Baku at the coast of the Caspian Sea and surrounded with a 12th century fortress wall, which is 8-10 meters high, 3 meters wide. It's very difficult to determine the exact age of the city, but archaeological excavations prove the fact that the city was inhabited by people in the Bronze Age, and in the 8th, 11th centuries, the city had a dynamic urban life with flourishing crafts and trade. Here in a small area of 22 hectares, there are hundreds of historical and architectural monuments, 28 of which of national significance and 3 of which are of world importance. In addition, the city houses several museums, art galleries, workshops, hotels, shopping facilities, and so on. And the city got the name Shahar following the economic development of the 19th century. In the period of oil boom, the city expanded beyond the fortress wall, and as a formation of the outer city, the notion Shahar has appeared. The Shahar is translated into English as the inner city. In December 2000, as I mentioned, the city was protected by the UNESCO as well. Let's move on our next page, Maiden Tower, the main symbol of Baku. Maiden Tower. Ah, that's great. One of the main symbols of Baku, the majestic and impregnable Maiden Tower, is located in the southeastern part of Baku fortress. The height of the tower is 31 meters from the north and 28 meters from the south. The tower consists of 8 floors, which are connected by stone staircases, which built in the southeastern wall of the tower. At medieval times, there was no staircase on the ground floor, and therefore the connection between the two floors was possible only by lowering rope or ladder through the circular hole on the ceiling. And in order to keep under control the sea, there were some loopholes, and which was intended for the circulation of fresh air in as well. And there are some suppositions about the date of construction of the tower. Some scholars think that it was built in 2 different periods. According to this supposition, the lower part of the tower was built in the 8th, 7th centuries before Christ, but some scholars suppose that it was built a little bit later. Over the entrance, at the height of 14 meters, there is an inscription which it runs the name of the architect, Gubey Masoud ibn Dawood. Scholars think that this is the name of the architect who built the tower. And there are another hypothesis about the functional purpose of the tower. Some scholars think that the tower could have been used as a defensive part of the Shivanja state. Some think that this was used as a lighthouse, observatory, or the Zoroastrian temple. One of the interesting pictures, could we change the page, please? Okay, thank you. One of the interesting features in the construction structure of the tower is a well dug out on a rock. The water well is 21 meters deep and built in the southeastern wall of the tower, and its diameter is 0.7 meters. And the chemical analysis proves the fact that the water of the well is potable, and during the siege, the water provided around 200 defenders with water. From the bird's eye view, Maiden Tower looks like figures 9 and 6. These numbers together create the symbol yin-yang. In ancient Chinese cosmology, yin-yang symbolizes the beginning of human creation. According to Turkish perception, 9 means the time period for development of a child in a mother womb, and the number 6 means the end of life on the world. Maiden Tower was restored in 1960 and began to function as a museum since 1964. Right now we see two pictures, the artifacts found around the Maiden Tower. Maiden Tower dating back to the 2nd, 1st centuries before Christ, and the winding staircase was built later on. But as I mentioned at the beginning of my speech, between these two floors at medieval times, only possible by lowering rope or ladder to access to each other. Can we move on, please, Mina? Okay, thank you. Electronic map of Vichai Shahar. This map provides information about interior and exterior of each monument that located within the fortress wall. Let's move on next. And this is miniature model of Maiden Tower and electronic map of Chai Shahar in the arts, as well as just display of artifacts found around the Maiden Tower during the archaeological excavations. And in the picture of miniature model, you see one shuttle. This shuttle is located the water well that I have already told about it. Can we move on next? Okay, caravanserais. Caravanserais create some imagination about the trade life of medieval Baku. At that time, Baku had trade links both with the West and the East. Oil, salt, silk, carpets, and so on were basically exported abroad. The main revenue of the city was coming from trade, thus the city paid special attention to the safety and safe stay of travelers and merchants who was arriving from Middle Asia countries to Baku. So caravanserais were divided into two parts, roadside and city caravanserais. They looked like a fortress with firm walls and with one door which was locked up at night. And the caravanserais in the walled city confirmed the fact that Baku had strong economical ties with the countries of Asia. You see two caravanserais which face to each other, Bukhara and Multani caravanserai. From the name of these caravanserais, you see we had merchants and travelers from Middle Asia countries. Bukhara caravanserai was built in the late 15th century on the trade route from Shamahu Gate, and the Multani caravanserai was built in the 14th century, which also located on the caravan trade route from Shamahu Gate as well. And both caravanserais had the same architectural structures. The courtyard of the caravanserais are open to the sky and well equipped for the safety of merchants and their goods. Now let's move on. The next one, please. bathhouses I will talk about. Okay, great, thank you. Bathhouses played an important role in the public life of Baku in medieval times. According to their architectural structure, bathhouses were often located underground, which helped to regulate the temperature in them. Such bathhouses were hot in winter and cool in summer. At that time, bathhouses did not only serve for sanitary hygienic purposes, they served as meeting places for people. In Shahar, every house, block, or quarter had its own bathhouse, mosque, and market as well. The bath house which portrayed in this presentation is from Hacı Gayub or Hacı Banes Hamam. This bathhouse was just revealed during the archaeological excavations. Archaeological excavations carried out in 1964, and this bathhouse was just built at the end of the 15th century by the architect Hacı Banu upon the order of Hacı Gayub. So the bathhouse was called by the names of these people. Let's move on the next page. Muhammad Mosque, the oldest dated. Yeah, that's cool. Thank you. This is the oldest date monument of the Islamic period in the old city. It was built in the 11th century by Ustad Reis al Muhammad ibn Abu Bakr. The height of the minaret is 22 meters. The minaret is unique for its dimensions and the structure of its complicated stalactites. During the restoration works in the 80s of 20th century, there was found a room under the praying hall of the mosque, and the artifacts found here prove that the mosque was built on the foundation of a fire worshippers temple. In 2010, the mosque and its minaret were carefully restored by the Austrian company. And as for the minaret of the mosque, I would like to tell you a little bit information. The minaret was damaged by the bombardment of Russian militaries in 1723 by headed Admiral Matyushkin, who approached the city from the sea and demanded it surrounded, but the city dwellers didn't let them to surround the city. So the minaret had damaged seriously, and that's why the mosque was called as well Smkala, or broken tower as well. So let's move on. Our next page, complex of Shirvanshah's palace, is a monument of world importance. A complex of Shirvanshah Palace was a last residence of the rulers of Shirvan state with a history of 1,000 years. After the devastating earthquake that took place in Şamaxı in 1191, Shirvanshah moved the capital to Baku. During the reign of Shirvanshah Manucher, who asserted the fortress walls of old Baku was built. The complex of Shirvanshah's complex was erected on one of the highest points of Shahar in a densely populated area. The complex was not constructed to a single architectural plan. It is located. The constructions of the complex are located in different courtyards, in 3 courtyards, with a level difference of 5-6 meters. And in 1964, the palace complex was declared a museum preserve and taken under the protection of the state. And in 2000, this ensemble with the fortified walls of the historic part of the city and the Maiden Tower was named a World Heritage Site. A 2-story dwelling. Let's move on. Next construction, and the first construction of the complex. This was the 2-story dwelling house. This is the oldest one. The palace had 52 rooms originally. 27 of them were on the ground floor. 25 of them were on the first floor. The ground floor with narrow windows looked like loopholes, was intended for servants and storehouses, and the Shivanja, together with his family, lived in the rooms of the first floor. And the main entrance into the palace is at the western part. The main rooms of the dwelling house are the throne hall and banquet hall. The throne hall is to the left of the reception room, and there is an inscription over the entrance door from the Zar Surah of Quran. In the banquet hall, the windows covered with stone lattices. Let's move on now and next. And this is from the exposition, so from the dwelling house, you see, this is the throne. To the left side, you see the throne hall of the complex, and the two others from the other rooms of the complex. Divan Khana, okay, thank you, Mina. Divan Khana, the masterpiece of the complex. Divan Khana is situated in a quadrangular closed yard. There are two entrances into this yard, from the upper yard and from the street. The main western entrance is emphasized with a magnificent, richly ornamented portal. On the left, inscriptions carved inside the medallion form 6 geometrical patterns in the form of ram, and 2 of them run, "There is no deity but Allah." The other 2 read, "Prophet Muhammad as a messenger of Allah." The rest of the domes run, "Imam Ali is close to Allah," and the hexagonal medallion on the right contains 12 small rams, 6 of them run, "Allah is single," and the other 6 bear the name Muhammad. The construction of this building was stopped in connection with the military events taken place in 15,000 and 1501. And all the constructions of the complex was built of limestone, local limestone, which called Badamdan limestone, being milky white after grinding acquires golden tint. Let's move on next one, please. Okay, thank you. The mausoleum of Sayyid Yahya Bakuvi is one of the best patterns of memorial architecture of the northern regions of Azerbaijan. The octangular mausoleum located in the middle courtyard of the palace complex. The height of mausoleum is 7.5 meters. It consists of okay. 10 minutes until the time. Okay, thank you, Mina, for your message. And it consists of subterranean and upper parts. The subterranean part is the vault of the philosopher and thinker Sayyid Yahya Bakuvi. The mausoleum was attached to an ancient mosque known as Keykubat Mosque. Sayyid Yahya Bakuvi, a philosopher, thinker who worked, prayed, and taught, namely in this mosque. The mosque was built in the reign of Shirvanshah Keykubat in the 14th century. Okay, I will try to conclude. The next one remains of Sabail Castle. In the middle courtyard, there are a great number of stone slabs with inscriptions and images. They are not the remains of any construction built in the complex, but they relate to Shirvanshah's period. As a result of the archaeological research works carried out in the years 1946 and 1962, it was found out that in the bay within 300 meters of the coast, there had been a small island known as Sabail City. The castle was 171 meters long and 35 meters wide. And in the early 14th century, in 1306, as a result of earthquakes, the level of the Caspian Sea rose unexpectedly, and the island was flooded, and Weil Castle collapsed and submerged under the water. Let's move on next. Eastern portal is the last construction of the complex. Eastern portal, known as Murad's Gate, was erected later than the other monuments of the complex in the 16th century during the occupation of Baku by Ottoman Turks. And let's move on to another one. Okay. Thank you. Shivanja's family tomb is a rectangular building topped with hexagonal cupola, and the exterior of the cupola is decorated with distinct polygonal stars. The entrance of the memorial tomb is in the form of richly ornamented portal. Ornaments carved on the portal are composed of leaves and petals of oleander. The portal is one of the most models in Azerbaijan architecture. According to the inscription over the entrance, it's obvious that the tomb was built for mother and son of the Shivanja Khalilullah, as well as the other members of his family were buried in this burial vault tomb. Next one, Palace Mosque. Now, okay, thank you. Palace Mosque. No, before. Okay. Good. Palace Mosque is a second monument located at the down courtyard. The Palace Mosque is covered with two sharp-pointed cupolas and emphasized by well-proportioned vertical minaret raised in the northeastern part of the building. The minaret is 22 meters high, and there are two entrances to the mosque, northern entrances and western entrances. The northern entrances was intended for men, and the western entrance was intended for women. In Shariat, people cannot who cannot take an ablution is not permitted to enter the mosque. And the last one, Palace Bathhouse, is located in the lowest terrace of the complex. Like all Oriental bathhouses, it was built with the half of the construction located under the ground. As I told in the bathhouses topic, it also was built under the ground in order to maintaining temperature regime. The bathhouse was unexpectedly discovered in 1939 archaeological excavation time, and in 1961 the conservation work was carried out there. Thank you very much, and this is the end of my presentation. But today's theme about diversity, I would like to say, may I say some words about today's theme?
Yes, please.
Okay, we cannot we cannot any opportunity to do serious changes on these centuries-old monuments for the people visual impairment or physical impairment, but we make opportunity for them online, on digital platforms to get close to these monuments. And as I sent you one board, iron board, which was intended for our people who have a visual impairment. Can you show it?
Could you give me just a minute?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you could continue explaining, and I will.
Okay. And this board is gifted to our administration for the display of such people who visit Chai Shahar and who cannot climb up the Maiden Tower or other kinds of monuments. Okay, this one's okay. In the board, you can see old houses as well as the monuments of national importance and global significance monuments. You can see tactile language for our visual impairment people. They can use easily, and as well as the just signages for them. Okay, only this one is intended for our visitors who have problems with eyesight or physical. Thank you so much. Okay. Mina, your voice is.
Thank you very
Okay.
much. Sorry. Thank you so much for your presentation. Well, I would like to, inform all our the attendees as well as presenters that we are, almost at the end of the session. And, for the question and answering session, I would like to request our attendees that if you have any questions, please send them through the chat box. We already have a few questions from Shivani. Well, before this, I would like to invite Dr. Sirin, if she is here. I think she is not here. Let me invite Miss Rima.
Mina, she also already answered.
Okay, so would you, okay, that will be fine. Miss Rima, would you like to give some your thoughts about the presentation and today's program? Ms. Rima? If this is the case, then I would like to request Javed sir to give some thoughts regarding today's presentation.
Yeah, that's great. I'm happy to say that all 4 presentations were excellent. If I rate them, they were very good. So we know that they are the experts of field and they can teach us and we can learn from them these kind of things. So they went excellent. So the first one was outstanding, and then I thought that this is the one which we will have finest. But then when we got Sheena, then that was so wonderful. And lastly, she's shown a museum, which I was praying that Meena may not ask her to stop this movie, you say, but that was excellent, that museum, that textile museum. So that is the kind of experience which we learn from you people. So we see how the Malaysia is going on, what is in Malaysia. So similarly, when it comes to Eleonora, she is, I believe, she is also a cream of this forum. So she did well too. So she told us about that monochrome studies and all these things. So that was wonderful to hear about his experiments and results and calculations. So that was there, and then finally I never thought that Gulnad is so perfect in giving lectures and also expressing the lot of beautiful surroundings of Baku, and this it was quite new for me. I mean, this is particularly the patterns on the buildings, and that was quite new for me. So she said Multani is a Multani. I can just give you for information to tell you that Multan is in Pakistan. Multan is the oldest city of Pakistan. So it's so the caravans, you see, they were exchanging. Baku came people here, and they from here to Baku. So where I'm sitting, it's only a few kilometers away. Multan is only a few kilometers away, and very old buildings. And so this blue tiles and blue tiles yeah, blue pottery, blue tiles, they are the famous product of, and also camel skin products are the famous for Multan. So I think that was also very excellent. We knew about underground baths, and I wish I could have been born on that era and must have been used those baths. So, so it's excellent, excellent architecture she has shown to us, and very nice. I'm very, very thankful and obliged to all you. The first, I cannot give a comments on keynote speaker because she is the senior most, and she is a very the expert in International Council of Museum for carpet museums and all this. As so, she is a very good event manager. So she normally arrange dress shows and this carpet exhibitions, and she carry the shows to Russia and other parts of Europe. So she, that is out of question. I can't sum up her presentation. So she is excellent. I thought I brought her here. I thought you people could inspire from her presentation. Unfortunately, her internet today was not working very well. So she couldn't give that much input, but whatever she gave us, it's excellent too. So particularly for the textile museum, that's of Malaysia. So they can exchange few projects with each other, or whether you take the exhibitions to Baku, and Baku people can come to Malaysia, that would be an excellent thing. So I think it's Shena and city, Rabia city, they both should explore this way, so that there should be some outcome of these conferences. You see, I am giving a chance to youth, right? So they should interact with seniors people, and then both should come close to each other to transfer the knowledge. Seniors should transfer the knowledge to juniors, and juniors should not mind receiving those knowledges or sharing their knowledges to them, senior people. So this is the way I think this word of knowledge works, you see. So with these words, I say thank you to all participants, and I definitely, your presentations was so complete that I have no question, but mostly people, you see, they couldn't raise a question because of the excellent presentations, you see. So you people has covered all these things. So thank you very much indeed, and I'm really obliged, and I will make sure that in future conferences, you people should come up as a senior speakers. So youth speaker, fine. That doesn't mean that youth speaker cannot speak in a normal conferences for speakers. So I will definitely all my friends, not only you four, all my friends who are here and who are not here, but they can see and video later on. So I invite all of them to select the forthcoming conferences and offer yourself to present some papers with the seniors, so that seniors should listen you and you can listen seniors on those conferences. So this is the way of sharing and exchange. Thank you very much indeed. Over to Meena for sum up.
All right, thank you very much, Javed sir. I would actually like to request you that, if everybody can turn on their cameras, then we would be taking a picture of today's session. Also, Javed sir, could you please help me with taking the picture?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Uma, how are you, Uma? No, it's formally finished, you see, that's, isn't it?
All right.
You can keep the recording off so we can talk each other freely.
Would you like me to inform about tomorrow's session?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, then let me officially close the program too. All right. So, well, dear professionals, esteemed session leaders, speakers, and valued attendees, we are at the end of the session. On behalf of ICOM Azerbaijan and ICOM Family Forum, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to our honorable session leader and keynote speaker, Dr. Sirin Melikova, Ms. Rima for her assistance, as well as our speakers for today's session, Ms. Eliana Krutovic, Ms. Sena Anak Skin, Ms. Eleonora Viteroni Orgias, and Ms. Guler Kulevia. Sorry, if I pronounce your names incorrectly, I'm really sorry for this. Well, also my sincere thanks to Dr. Gayatri, Sir Mindasi Khan, I think, sorry, from Mongolia, Nuran, Mr. Said, Mr. Jangir Hussain from Bangladesh, the Nomad Museum, Dr. Than, Ms. Puma, Osma Pati, Shivani Banerjee, as well as Aditya Banerjee for being with us. I'm pretty sure there were other more participants whose name I couldn't, include, but thank you very much for participating and being such great attendees for this session. Well, we have one more session which is scheduled for tomorrow, and I would like to invite you all for the session. Sorry, let me check the name, sorry.
Yeah, it's Elke Kaliner.
All right, her pronunciation was a little bit tough for me, so all right, so she is coming with us tomorrow for the informal talk show, and we would love to see you all there. And also today's session is being recorded, and we will provide the link very soon in our messenger chat box. Hope to see you soon. Thank you very much for being with us.